And we're back from the break, wrapping up this segment of understanding your health, and we're talking about autism, Tom. And before the break, we're talking about things that should eliminate on the food level: MSG, sugar, those things, gluten. Obviously, gluten's coming in. Casein, which is a milk protein, another one that. And then again, folks, way too extensive of a list here to kind of go into this, but certainly something that you can go online and get a lot of this information. But the things that you should do, Tom, and we talked about this. The things that we should take in as far as nutritionally. We know also, too, that you were talking earlier before we started the show about the mitochondria, which is basically the energy storehouse or the production side of the cell to some degree. They have found a link between this as far as the mitochondria and the function of the mitochondria and autism. And it only makes sense. They're thinking a little slower and sometimes and analyzing things a little more. Maybe it is an energy thing inside the cell. What have we found here? What have the recent science said? What is it?
We'll go back just one more step. So we're talking about the energy, and we've had different segments, and if you would please watch the reruns or something. But anyway. The thing is, if your gut has the gluten, and let's say you're not even autistic and you're not even, let's call it super sensitive. The study I read was there was a gastroenterologist, and he took these people with colon problems, and he put them on a gluten-free diet. He took another group and put them on a gluten-free diet that didn't have any diagnosis whatsoever. Then he took the other group and he just left them alone. Well, they took them off the gluten, so what does that leave? That leaves a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruit, some of the nuts, some of the oils we presented, the coconut oil and the olive oil and the different nuts, the cashews and even the good tasting ones.
Yes.
But anyway, almonds and walnuts. So anyway, they took that in, and before the study started, they took all their markers, and it was like cholesterol, and it was like cancer markers, and of course the symptoms in the colon problem, people. Well, guess what? At the end of the study, let's start off with the people that didn't change. They didn't do any different. So they still had the same markers for cancer and cholesterol and all this stuff. The other two groups had identical improvements in cancer markers, cholesterol. These people, their colon quit bothering them like over 25%. So what the gastroenterologist, at least he said, well, maybe we ought to start looking at, even if you don't have symptoms of gluten intolerance, maybe you ought to try laying off it and see what happens to you. So let's start with the energy, all the way back to that.
Yes.
So remember we did the juicing segment and a lot of the raw stuff to set up your flora. But anyway, that'll get you your energy. But you're right, the mitochondria are mostly, they're not really cells. There's hundreds of per cell, but they're mostly concentrated in the central nervous system, so brain, spinal cord, muscle tissue, and in your gut.
In your gut.
So, yes. So guess where people have trouble with autism? In their brain.
Yes.
Their nervous system, their muscles,
and in their intestines.
So that's what happened. One of the older researchers showed only 7% of the people that had autism had this clear mitochondrial. The latest research is up to 80. And what I was trying to, we talk in between breaks. We do more talking between the breaks than we do on TV. But anyway, I think they'll find more than 80% when they keep doing this research. So if they found 7 the first one, 80 the next, let's just extrapolate out. So
it's going to happen.
Yeah,
there's going to be a connection.
Yeah,
no
so
doubt about that.
You need the nutrition to those mitochondria. The mitochondria give the energy to the
cell itself, correct.
Yes.
So energize the mitochondria, and how you do that, folks, CoQ10 is a great option.
Awesome.
They're very, very good. You need to probably get up in the 100, 200 milligram range in a lot of cases. Right?
One of the research was showing like a 4 milligram. So
wow, that low.
Well, Todd, there's so a few years ago, 400 units of vitamin D was considered good. Now, what is it now?
Yes, it's like 5,000.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So that's what's happening in these other fields.
Yes.
But a lot of this goes along with the energy. He knows L-carnitine is a great one, and carnosine, acetylcysteine. Yeah. Those are all excellent
Yeah.
and those are well tolerated.
Yeah.
The methylcobalamin, I know that's a lot of stuff.
Which is B12, basically,
Yeah,
folks. Look into that as well.
But the methyl seems to be, and the folates are what they have a problem with.
Yeah.
If you guys want me to, I can, well, not unless you're, a medical doctor or researcher, you would be left in the dust but
With
it's,
all of
it's
the stuff.
glucose,
Yes.
pyruvate, lactate, how
Yes.
it cycles through.
Yeah.
Forget it, people.
Yeah.
They're down to the DNA of the mitochondria and RNA of the mitochondria, not alone just of the cell or of the person.
As you can tell, folks, it is crazy extensive. CoQ10 is a great place to start there, or carnitine as well, Tom, like you said, perfect. Add these things, look into it, folks. Google this subject, autism with children, certainly a big subject, controversial. Look into it. It's a big, deep, wide subject. So we appreciate you joining us here on this edition of Understanding Your Health. We'll see you next week, folks. Thanks for tuning in.